and welcome to my channel. My name is Karuna and today I'm going to show you how to prepare cinnamon swirl bread. We can either toast this bread or use it for preparing sandwiches. It will taste absolutely delicious. So let's take a look at the ingredients and let's get started. We'll need 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 7 tablespoons of sugar. The measurement that I'm using here is for every 1 cup of all-purpose flour, I'll be adding 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I've taken 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, so I'm using 7 tablespoons of sugar. 2 tablespoons of salt, 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, 2 more tablespoons of sugar, 6 tablespoons of salted butter, 1 cup of whole milk, and 2.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast. Now using just the butter, milk and yeast, I'll prepare a buttermilk mixture for kneading the dough. In order to prepare the dough, we have to get our buttermilk mixture ready. So here I have a small pan heating on a medium flame. To this I'll add in milk and the butter. I'll simply let this mixture boil for some time until the milk starts frothing. When the butter has completely melted and the milk starts frothing, we can just turn off the flame and let this cool for some time before we add in our yeast. In order to get the yeast activated, we have to let this buttermilk mixture cool until it's warmer than lukewarm but not overly warm. Or you can simply use a thermometer and add the yeast when the temperature is between 100 to 105 degree Fahrenheit. This buttermilk mixture is now at 180 degree Fahrenheit, so I'll let this cool until it comes down to 100 degree Fahrenheit. Anything above 130 will kill the yeast without activating. After about 10 minutes, this mixture is now exactly 105 degree Fahrenheit, so I'll go ahead and add the yeast. Once I add in the yeast, I'll let this mixture sit for about 10 more minutes so that the yeast will wake up from its deep sleep and do its magic. After about 10 minutes, looks like the yeast is activated and this buttermilk mixture is now ready to be used for preparing the dough. Once the buttermilk mixture is ready, using stand mixer with a hook attachment, I'll mix all the dry ingredients. To the all-purpose flour, I'll add 2 tablespoons of salt, 7 tablespoons of sugar and mix this on a medium speed for about 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I'll start adding the buttermilk mixture in increments and will continue to knead until it forms a firm soft dough. Even after adding the entire buttermilk mixture, if this dough is still crumbly, we can lightly add some water, which is at room temperature. When you're no longer required to add any more water to form the dough, just continue to knead this dough on a medium speed for about 5 to 6 minutes. After about 6 minutes, this dough is looking something like this. It's got a nice shiny layer on the top. I'll sprinkle some oil on the dough as well as in the bowls. And I'll just lightly toss this dough around so that this dough gets coated with the oil. Once the dough is coated in the oil, I'll simply cover it and place this in a warm place for about 2 hours. In the meanwhile, we can get our loaf pan ready for baking. I have these parchment papers which I've already cut to match the size of the loaf pan. I'll just grease this pan with some oil. And I'll simply place these parchment paper inside the pan. Once this is done, we can cut out the excess paper using a pair of scissors. After about 2 hours, this dough would have doubled in size. I'll lightly sprinkle some all-purpose flour on a clean flat surface and I'll knead this dough again. Once you have finished kneading the dough, you just have to stretch out this dough so that it looks something like a rectangle. You can even use a rolling pin to stretch out this dough. Once you have stretched out the dough to look something like a rectangle, we just have to prepare a cinnamon sugar mixture to sprinkle over the dough. So I'll mix 2 tablespoons of sugar with 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. And I'll just sprinkle this mixture over this dough. And I'll lightly pat this. Once this dough is stretched out to a rectangular shape, we can roll out this dough from its shorter edge so that it looks something like a log. After you roll, just pinch out the edges so that it forms something like a log. Once you have the rolled dough ready, you can simply place it in the pan. Once you've put the rolled dough in the loaf pan, we have to let this sit in a warm place for about 2 more hours until the dough rises. After about 2 hours, looks like the bread has risen and it's time to bake this bread now. Before I bake the bread, I'll rub this milk on top of the bread so that it gets a nice brown crust. When it's time to bake the bread, preheat the oven to 360 Fahrenheit. Once the oven is preheated, place this loaf pan inside the oven. We have to bake this bread at 360 Fahrenheit for about 40 to 45 minutes. Every oven will be different, so make sure you start checking on this bread after 30 minutes so that nothing gets burnt. After about 45 minutes, this bread is completely baked and I'll let this cool for some time before I slice it. We can easily store this bread for up to 4 to 5 days in refrigerator. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you ever try out this recipe, please let me know how it turns out. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.